Hello everybody, Jay here with
Russ.
And in this episode of Movie Grades, we are going to review
Power Rangers.
Go, go, Power Rangers.
It's morphin' time!
Alright, first we're going to start with the cast, and we're going to start with the Rangers themselves. We're just going to do it as a group, since there are a lot of new people to this world of acting. Dacre Montgomery, he played Jason Scott. Naomi Scott, she played Kimberly Hart. R.J. Seiler played Billy Cranston. Becky G played Trini Kwan. And Ludi Lin played Zachary Taylor. As a group, I really enjoyed this casting. I mean, yes, they were new, but they did a phenomenal job in what the script they were given, and the script was very well done. The cool thing about each Ranger is they had their own story explained, they had their own emotions, everything was very well done for each Ranger. They had their own persona. That's the word I was looking for, persona. And I really enjoyed them as the Rangers and doing this role as the Rangers and as their characters, their counterparts. What do you think about these five?
I thought they did great. Becky G, I know because she did one of the part of the soundtrack for Hotel Transylvania. I do think it's funny though. I never realized that Zach's last name is Taylor, much like President Zachary Taylor. I thought they did a phenomenal job, but just worth noting, folks. If you've watched any of the previews of this movie, it was not marketed well. I mean, what you see in the trailers does not do it justice. I think they did a phenomenal job. I know we're used to, from back in the day, where basically the Rangers were just these all-perfect kids who never screwed up, and they did 50,000 extracurricular activities, which even Linkara brought up was not even remotely believable. In this one, to me, they're a lot more relatable. In fact, the gentleman who played Billy Cranston, the R.J. Seiler kid, he plays an autistic version of Billy, and so obviously I related very well to that. And Zach, he has sort of a smart-ass attitude, and that worked really well for me as well. So I was really enjoying it. I dug them all. I think they all did a fantastic job in their roles, seriously.
Next we have Bill Hader, and he played Alpha 5. Now, Bill Hader's done a lot of voice acting in many movies and stuff, and I really enjoyed him in this movie. I think he played the part very well. I feel like when he went, aye, 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 it was an homage to the original Alpha 5. So, yeah, I enjoyed him. What do you think of Bill Hader as Alpha 5?
Bill Hader is one of those cases where, again, you'll watch the trailer and you'll think, okay, this doesn't look good. The thing is, what you don't get from the trailer, folks, is the tone of the movie. And the tone is very different than the TV show. Let me tell you, Bill Hader nailed it as Alpha 5 in this new version. It just worked. One thing I noticed about Bill Hader, he seems to have kind of like this, there's nothing really specifically defining about the roles he does. Like, you never think to yourself, okay, I picture him in this role because he always does this or that. Bill Hader has done so many different kinds of roles. He can kind of do little bits of here and there, a little bit of everything. And Alpha 5 is kind of one of those out there roles. He did great. What can I say? He did.
Next we have Bryan Cranston as Zordon. I enjoyed Bryan Cranston. First of all, playing back to the original Power Rangers, he did do a few voiceovers on some of the monsters. So it's cool that they brought him on board to play the one and only Zordon in this. And what I really liked about Zordon is I like the backstory that he was like the Red Ranger from when the dinosaurs ruled the Earth 65 million years ago. He was fighting, and then he was brought to Earth, on a spaceship, and the wall that they made him on, I really liked. In the trailer, you see some of it, but when he moves, like the wall's like in a semicircle, so it's a semi-arc, and it's cool how he moves through the wall, and it really did look like him too. If you actually have one of those little toys that has like the pegs, and you push up with it with your face or your fingers, that's the idea behind it.
I was thinking the same thing.
And it looked like Bryan Cranston, and him as Zordon with the makeup on as the alien, it did look like him. And I think they cast it, even though Bryan Cranston was. It was a surprise to a lot of people because, you know, they didn't show Zordon in the first few trailers, but when people saw that, they were like, that was a great choice. And I think he did a phenomenal job. I think he was a spot-on Zordon. I'm glad they brought him aboard doing Zordon for your Breaking Bad fans and your Malcolm in the Middle fans. And what did you think about Bryan Cranston as Zordon?
You know, I've said in certain previous reviews that if you're going to do, you know, an updated version or a more recent version of a previous a previous property, I want to see someone make the role their own. One thing I liked about everyone in this movie, and that included Bryan Cranston as Zordon, they made the role their own, and he was no different. And I like that, again, as even Jay brought up, he started out, you know, as a Red Ranger from eons ago, and it seems like, spoiler alert, he's hoping to continue on as a humanoid ranger again. I won't get into too much details about that, but considering the position that he's been given and everything, he does an incredible job with it. And the thing is, when you look back on the original franchise, you just see that guy floating in the tube, you know, Zordon, and just the way it's done now, it's a massive update, and it was just the execution was fantastic. It really was.
And lastly was Elizabeth Banks, and she played Rita Repulsa. Make my monster grow.
Oh, they're giving me such a headache, Finster!
Make me a monster. Elizabeth Banks did a spot-on job. You know her from Hunger Games as Effie, and I enjoyed her in this movie. I feel like I felt her character better in this movie, better than Effie in Hunger Games. I just felt more, she brought more to the table.
Yeah.
Hunger Games, leave it at that. But the thing with her, I like the backstory they give the Rita Repulsa. I understand the original franchise, you know, they were just making a quick story behind her, you know, she was in the garbage pail or whatever for 10,000 years or whatever. But in this story, they actually give her a backstory. She was the original Green Ranger. She has a power coin, just like the other Rangers. And she has her staff, and then she creates Goldar, which I'll let you explain your theory in a little bit when you talk about her.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked Elizabeth Banks as a Rita Repulsa. I mean, I liked her armor even in the shots when they were on the spaceship as the Green Ranger, which might follow up in the next movie if they plan to do a sequel, which I'm sure they will. It's Power Ranger. I just really enjoyed her, and you. On to you.
No, I thought she was absolutely fantastic in it. One thing I actually liked a lot was that this is the first movie I've really seen just the kind of range she has, because she had to use that range in several different scenes for Rita. There's, aside from being threatening, she had it's almost like, imagine the vintage Rita, but take out all the corniness that you loved about, you know, the original Power Rangers. She brought that, you know, that threatening and vicious tone to it. I mean, she was a violent and threatening Rita. I know I keep saying the word threatening, and I apologize. I know it's more Jay's territory, but essentially, I mean, like I said about Bryan Cranston and how he made Zordon his own, and how Bill Hader made Alpha 5 his own, Elizabeth Banks definitely did that with Rita Repulsa. It was incredible. Seriously. So, a lot of people weren't happy with the design of Goldar. First of all, I have to say, once again, the tone of the original show would not have matched this movie. However, because she was originally the Green Ranger, part of me is under the belief that Goldar was kind of her Zord. And there's one scene where, like, she goes inside Goldar, and I'm not gonna lie, it's like, it doesn't really do seem to enhance Goldar any, but just the fact that she controls him as though he's a thug, but at the same time, the way she can go inside of him, I know that doesn't sound right. Nonetheless, it makes me think that maybe he was her Zord, and I'm wondering, was he able to attach to the other Zords in some way that we'll obviously never get to see now? But it's just kind of fun to think anyway. I think so.
You never know in the flashback. But I will say one funny thing. When you were thinking about all this gold, did it make you think of of Goldmember from Austin Powers. Did you ever think back and say, Gold? Or you know how Goldmember.
The funny thing is, I didn't. But what I was thinking of might like make you feel a little uncomfortable. Do you want me to tell you what it was? So there's a scene where she takes the gold out of some guy's teeth, and all I could think was, imagine how much his teeth must have hurt after she took that gold out. I mean, just like leaving those fillings empty. That's what I was thinking. I know it sounds crazy, but that's all I could think about after that. But yeah, Jay brings up a good point with gold.
Thinking about that a few times when she always wanted to get gold. Okay, plot and story. You explain it.
Okay.
In a heartbeat.
Let me sum this up. If you folks are looking at this thinking, oh, they're probably just going to rush through everything like they didn't have an hour, no, they don't. This is Jay is under the belief that the plot and story they dragged out too much. I didn't think they dragged it out too much at all. I thought it was paced very nicely. I thought they were very thoroughly elaborating on what it took to get to from just being regular teenagers to finding the coins, to then finding the command center, to learning about Rita from Zordon and all that, becoming Rangers. I thought it was all well paced. Jay thought it dragged on a bit. To me, when he was explaining it to me in the car, I thought he dragged on more about it than the movie did. That was my opinion. I know he was complaining a lot about the a lot of the teen drama, but it's a bunch of teen.
It's a teen.
Just as a sidetrack here. Take the Monster High, for instance. Jay's girlfriend said, oh, Russell may not like this because it's about a lot of silly stuff. And my response is, it's about high school. Of course it's about stupid things. And I say the same thing here. Of course they're going to have silly things about things you're doing, with other people. Yeah, of course the silly stuff, it's teenagehood. We all had silly things that we were thinking were the world over back, when we were teens. No big deal. But the thing is, nonetheless, I thought the pacing was fantastic. Essentially, they have to learn to form together as a team because Rita's trying to get the Zeo Crystal so that she can destroy the entire world with it, and Zordon needs the Rangers to stop her. I thought it was great. Again, I thought the pacing was fantastic. To repeat myself for the 50th time, there were a few things, and I'll discuss them in the bad, that I had a problem with, but in general, I thought it was fantastic, and unlike Jay, I love the pacing.
I'm not going to say the pacing was that bad. I mean, the pacing after the beginning, it got a little better, with the fire pit scene and all that. That was really well done. It was just that first part from them going from ordinary kids to the point where Billy was the first one who got the ability to morph, and then the others morph. That actually kind of came later on. Maybe that's the other reason, how much space there was to get to that pivotal point, because that's what people wanted to get to. I feel like it just took too long to get to that pivotal point, because that is very essential to the Power Rangers franchise, is seeing those costumes. So moving on to special effects. The special effects were very well done.
Oh yeah,
Alpha 5 looks really well done. I know when I saw him in the trailers, I was like, what the heck is this thing?
Well,
but he grew on me even in the trailers. Even the Putty Patrol looked really odd, but I see what they were trying to do. They want to make it more modern, not as cheesy as how they looked in the TV series. Even though Goldar looked really well done, I liked how the gold in him was like flowing, like if it was heated. It looked really cool. And like I said, Rita's design was very well done.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's special effects. That's just a costume. But
right.
Even the special effects where they're getting their costumes and stuff, or where she's actually getting the effects on her face. Her armor growing on her when she's fighting Trini in that one scene, like all that, and then of course them getting their costumes or their armor. We'll call it armor because this is more of an armor versus in the series are more like
suits
or costumes or suits, whatever you want to say. This is like an armor, like more of a, I want to say living armor, but an armor that they have to embrace, that's inside of them.
Let me put it this way, folks. Essentially, when they say it's morph time, this time they really do morph into the suits.
Yeah. So and of course, getting back to the special effects of Zordon, very well done, as I said earlier. The Megazord and the Zords look very well done.
Yeah.
Next comes the action, which, it's a Power Rangers movie. You're going to have action. I mean, there's action in the TV series. There's going to have to be action. and the action was phenomenal. The battle scenes, Rhea Repulsa, the Zords, everything.
I will say, I think the first actual battle they had with the putties, it was a little awkward because they were like swimming through water to fight them. So I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. But the actual battle between they versus Goldar and Rita was incredible. Just an incredible experience to watch. And here's one thing Jay didn't mention yet. This time, rather than the Zords immediately forming into the Megazord, they got their own screen time. So you could see each Zord and each of the Rangers in action as each of the Zords. Personally, I liked the way they actually fit onto the Zord as opposed to all just being in that one central area in the chest.
Yeah, that I did like too. The one thing I will say about this, when they were being pushed into this pit, I wish you would have seen the Zords combine, because that was a very essential thing to the original franchise. I know maybe they were trying to do their own thing. Maybe we'll see it in the next movie.
Yeah.
But it's a big, big, big thing that you see in every single episode of Power Rangers. One thing I liked is when, at the beginning, where Jason slaps the bully, and Billy goes, "Did you just slap him?" And he goes, "Yeah," and then at the end he slaps Rhea Repulsa with the Megazord. He's like, "Did you just slap?" Billy goes, "Did you just slap her?" He's like, "Yeah." So I like how they connected those two aspects.
Yeah.
And that's a good movie making, when you can connect one thing from the beginning, even something small like that.
Oh yeah, the little things.
It's the little things that count, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of good things in this movie. Like I said, each Ranger, or even each character, but especially the Rangers, had their own persona. They had their own lifestyles.
Yeah.
From where they came from, and they explained that, and I'm glad they did.
I actually had a few nitpicks in the world of the bad. It is actually regarding what Jay was talking about, his area with the pacing. I didn't think it was the pacing per se that was the problem. I think it's certain things that were involved in that area. Like, Billy takes Jason to this mountain that's supposedly off limits to the public to do something there that he used to do with his father. Why? It's not explained, so I'm just like, oh, okay. And you just, go with it. But again, it would help to know why, so that way, maybe that would have helped Jay out a little bit. I'm just watching the whole time like, okay, why is he doing that? And it's never explained. Maybe they'll do it in a future movie, which would be great. But it just left me confused. So truthfully, I think there are a few minor things. And like I said, the thing with that, Rita really didn't increase the strength of Goldar any by going inside him. That's never going to sound good no matter how I come up with it. And I'm like, again, why not? So at the beginning of the movie, Jason gets in trouble because he brings a cow into this bull's sports...
No, it was the school. He brought the bull into
the school locker room.
Because sometimes opposing teams will bring their mascot or whatever... And I guess the bull was the opposing team's mascot. He
says to his dad, "Guess you're just not going to understand me." And I'm thinking, I don't even understand why you did that. So again, something I don't really grasp, like why they did it. Those are my only real problems with it, but I can let them slide for now,
Another good thing I'm going to mention was I like when they got their power, when they went to the suits, or the armor, I should say, armor, and then that scene afterwards where you see them walking up the stairs out in the spaceship, that was pretty epic. And the second part, in the original franchise, they would take off their helmets to reveal themselves when they're in the command center or wherever, but in this one, when they're in the Zords, they have something that covers their face, but you could see their face. And I like how they went in depth with that. It gave it more depth to the characters, that you got to see them, And there was one scene where there was his father who was in an accident, Jason's father who was in an accident, and Jason had to go save him in the suit. And I thought it might have been one of those things, maybe not, where it could have used it where he might have opened up his face mask just to show him, but as you explained, that his father probably knows it's him or has a feeling it's his son. I did like Zach's mother. She was really cool. I liked her. I like Trini's family. Like peeing the cup. That was funny. She thought she was on drugs. Kimberly was the only one who we really didn't see her parents. And Billy, obviously, we know his father had passed away. He was only living with his mother. And I like how with the one thing we were saying, if I die, when he was about to jump, he's like, if I die is about my mother, or my mom will find someone else. There was just these little things in the movie that were really well done.
Yeah, basically he was acting like an autistic person. I do that all the time inside my head.
So, let's move on to our final grades. On this movie, I'm going to give it a solid A.
Same here.
It was that
more phenomenal.
It was that damn good. It was more phenomenal. Go Power Rangers. So that's about it. This is Jay with
Russ,
and we'll see you next time.
This video is sponsored by the Crazy Kings of Toys. Check them out for all your toy needs and find out why they are so crazy. Find them on eBay, Bricklink, and Facebook. Links are in the description. For more Toxic Pop, visit our website at toxicpop1.wixsite.com/toxicpop. Email us at toxicpop1@gmail.com and check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/toxicpop1 and Instagram at instagram.com/wearetoxicpop. Links are in the description.